Welcome to the Golden Square Mile in Montreal, Canada. Welcome to GlobeTrotter. I'm Jon Haggins. I'm here at the Pt1 Wax Museum in Montreal. You know, it's amazing. Wax, they look so real. As you walk through the rooms, you feel like someone's staring at you. Hotel Mount Stephen is in the Golden Square Mile, and it's a historic building that has been converted into a 5-star hotel with lots of high-tech gadgets.
My name is Antoine Naum, and I'm the general manager of the Mount Stephen Hotel. We are standing in the lobby of the hotel, and as you see, opened up last year in May 2017. Behind me lays the historical piano, which was made for George Stephen back in the time in 1880, and it has been made by the Derker brothers in New York, and it costed them $4,000 in the time. We started with the piano because the piano is considered to be one of the magnificent historical pieces that this house had. Now we are in the new section of the hotel, and then this section, as we said, opened in May 2017. We happen to be on the 10th floor and in one of these skyloft suites overlooking the city of Montreal, which is visible right behind me. And then Montreal downtown is right on the tip of your fingers. And then this hotel has 90 rooms, the largest royal suite in Montreal. The unique skylofts, they are on split level with the unique private terraces as well.
You know, Montreal is a very special destination, and it's so close to home. That's what I love. And the fact that, how can I describe it? It's, you know, being here at the Mount Stephen Hotel and at the Bar George is just, it's heaven. It's a combination of the old and the new, and it's a great combination. And I'm sitting here with my dear friend Louis Barbaric, and he has been a longtime friend and invited me up for this experience of the Golden Mile.
Yes, nice having you, John, with us. So the Golden Square Mile is this upper scale Scottish heritage neighborhood in downtown Montreal. So it's the most prestigious neighborhood of downtown Montreal.
Lucky me.
Lucky you, lucky us, having this nice signature drink at the Bar George, the Golden Square Mile drink, which is a sour-based drink. And what we have here is, you mentioned it, a mix of old and new, and this luxury touch.
Right.
But it's still accessible to students. It's not only luxury, and that's what it's nice about the Golden Square Mile. We have 2 universities, McGill and Concordia. We have 5-star hotels, like the Mount Stephen Hotel.
Absolutely.
And this lively bar, the Bar George. And we think Lord Stephen, George Stephen is with us, and he's a joyful spirit in making this a joyful bar.
Hi, my name is Arnaud Leduc. Today I'm going to present you the Golden Square Mile Sour. I work at Bar George, one of the most amazing places in Montreal. We're going to start with some egg white. Not to be afraid of egg white, because egg white is going to create some texture in your cocktail. A little simple syrup, just to balance the acidity of it. Of course, fresh and pressed lemon juice. In this case, we're going to go for a healthy amount of lemon in this case. After that, start the show with gin. A little touch of flower, we go with elderflower liquor, in this case, Saint-Germain. We're going to do what we call a dry shake, just to fluff the egg white a little. Don't forget to smile. After that, here comes all the magic. You're going to put some ice. And now, hard shake our drink. After that, we're going to top this drink with Saracoal Snaffle Cider, all the way to the top. And there you go. I present you the Golden Square Mile Sour.
So we could talk about what to experience in the Golden Square Mile. It's great fine dining, great hotel stays. We have nature. I mean, we have small parks. You could meditate, do yoga, and we're in the middle of downtown Montreal, don't forget. We have great shopping, you know, high-end and accessible stores,
Right.
lots of flagship stores.
And museums.
And museums.
Lots of museums.
Lots of nice museums. We have a total of 4 museums in this Golden Square Mile. So you experienced Grévin, the Wax Museum, the Fine Arts Museum, McCord Museum, and we have also a museum at McGill, which is the Rat Path Museum, Natural History. You could experience, you know, great spa. It's all in here, and that's what makes it a great neighborhood.
It's self-contained.
It's self-contained, exactly.
You know, what I love also here at the Mount Stephen is the fact that the staff is so friendly, and you feel so comfortable here, and I think that's a big prize.
That's what makes it a 5-star hotel, the
Yeah.
Mount Stephen Hotel. And this, you know, Bar George is this old mansion from the 17th century, built by Lord George Stephen.
With all the special wood all over the mansion, it's unbelievable. And high ceilings.
Exactly.
They probably could make 3 stories in New York out of this, each floor.
Absolutely.
It's amazing. I haven't been here in quite a while, but you know, every time I come, there's always another rock to be turned. So you get to experience a whole other thing. And the rooms are so fantastic and spacious, you know, and comfortable.
High tech.
Yeah, high tech, oh my God.
Yeah.
I can't tell you some of the things that have happened with the high tech, but it's wonderful. I mean, it's really a modern world. And we're sharing Montreal and the Golden Mile and Mount Stephen's Hotel, which is fantastic. It's an old hotel with a new hotel attached. So therefore you've got the old and the new, and it's just such a pleasure to see all of this. And the people, the staff here is just absolutely amazing, absolutely amazing. And you know, I'd like to toast to that.
Thank you, John.
Whoops.
Nice having you. Cheers.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So my name is France Quentin. I'm the director of the Tamizan Gallery, where we are right now. Tamizan is an artist himself. He's a ceramist, and he's been doing that for 40 years. And since we've been in the Golden Square Mile since a little more than a year, we've been inviting other artists to exhibit. So we try to have midterm career artists that can show maybe sometimes more experimental works that they do. Every artist is invited for a period of 2 months. We get a lot of tourists coming in Montreal to see our exhibitions. Of course, we are near the Fine Arts Museums, which brings a lot of people interested in arts. So we have people mostly from the United States, but we have many European tourists as well. We try to show mostly artists from Quebec, or mostly from Montreal especially, but sometimes we do have people from, like next year we have a French artist that's coming to exhibit in our gallery. Tamizan is an artist himself, so he's the owner of the gallery, so he's been showing his work in his own gallery for a lot of time, over 30 years, I would say. And he thinks, you know, that there's a lot of artists out there that deserve to be shown, so he wanted to share space. So we try to have artists that, you know, have a strong message and maybe a different approach, you know, to show people that, you know, there's a lot of the spectrum of what art has to offer.
Hi, my name is Michel Desroches, and I'm an artist from Montreal. I do a lot of like paintings, but you know, like before doing paintings, I do a lot of study. So I do a lot of drawings and a lot of sketching. So I'm very pleased to show you like some of my work. I come from Montreal, and I used to be an art therapist for 10 years, where I worked with people in mental health. So that's maybe the inspiration of the faces and all the, how do you say it, all the presence of the human face that you can see in my work. So, and you can see even like emotion, like raw emotion in my work. So that's what I do right now. So, I've been doing that for maybe like 20 years. But since 2 years, I'm represented by an agent in California, Beverly Hills. The next step, I think I'm going like more into time period, like a different motion, like showing in the same picture a different time space, time lapse, things like that. So that's what I do. Like here, you can see like multiple faces. So that's where I'm going right now. That's what my agent and me working on, and it's very good because as we speak, I have some work in Art Fair of Shanghai right now. So my agent is representing me there. So with the art gallery, Winslaven Gallery from Beverly Hills. So my career is very good, and I like to thank France of France Quentin because she asked me to expose here. Since I was like 5 years old that I began drawing, and now I'm 48, 49, almost 50. but it's like all the time that I drew and I did picture, I perfect myself doing like things like that. Sometimes I add something, a color, hint of light, shadow, something, and it's like a dialogue that I have with my work. And at the end of the day, it's like you feel like you're more complete, and you know when to sign your name underneath and say it's finished.
You know, this is really a treat. I'm here with Joris, and he's at the 1616 restaurant in the Golden Mile here in Montreal. So he's going to explain some of his great food here.
Yes, thank you for having me. We're just doing a few things tonight just to get a taste of what we're doing in the restaurant, which is basically working with French technique, but with very local ingredients.
You're bringing all of France into Quebec.
I think the French came before. I'm actually a bit late, a few hundred years. But yes, trying to bring my experience and my point of view on the subject.
Which is fantastic. Also, the restaurant is new.
Yes, we opened 2 months ago, so it's going pretty well.
Yeah.
Very busy tonight, as you can see, and everything is going very well.
What I think is really terrific is the fact that you're doing Restaurant Week as well. So it brings in a lot of people. It introduces them to the restaurant. They'll have a great experience. They'll share it with their friends, and they'll come back again.
But that's what we wanted to do. We wanted to open the place as we open our house.
Right.
You know, we just wanted to not invite just our friends to the house, but anyone who passed through the street and want to try the restaurant at an affordable price.
So it's a nouvelle cuisine?
No, I don't think so. I think nouvelle cuisine is quite a term that can englobe quite a few different things. I wouldn't go as far as saying nouvelle cuisine. No, okay. I'd say it's probably my cuisine. It's quite trying to put my spin onto everything, because every dish you can find here is unique.
Okay.
You'll never find it on another menu restaurant.
All right.
So this is the kind of idea we're going with.
So what do we have here?
So we have a few bites for you. We have a wild rice cracker with a pear puree and thyme, just a few thyme leaves to bring a bit of a punch of flavor.
Okay.
We have a burnt onion bread toast that we make ourselves, obviously, with a daisy butter and then black truffle on the top.
Fantastic.
As well. In the middle here, we're going to have the smoked caviar that I'm going to serve you in a second and smoke for you. And here we have the surprise, which is the pralin, hazelnut pralin truffle, which is chocolate, with a white chocolate and mushroom.
Delicious. So what are you doing there?
So we're just lighting the hay,
right,
placing the caviar inside with the cucumber, and just letting it smoke for about a minute. Hay smoke is very fragrant, a lot of flavor coming through.
Ooh, yes.
But it can't be smoked for too long. It wouldn't be like apple wood or maple wood. You don't want to smoke it for more than maybe a minute. Well, that's my taste anyway. Right. Up. And from there, you can just start opening them again.
Mm.
It smells like the countryside already.
Yes. How refreshing is that?
And inside we have a celeriac puree with confit cucumber and a little bit of caviar. Here we are. And I think it's going to be time for you to try the food. So this one is obviously for you.
Okay. Is that plastic?
It's just film, cling film.
Oh, okay. Now tell me what I'm experimenting with here.
So you're experimenting with the burnt onion bread toast that we make ourselves with the daisy butter. We dehydrated the daisies in the summer to use for the tougher month in Quebec, and then we serve it with black truffle and daikon radishes.
So everything is basically very natural.
Everything is trying to be as close to farmers, to nature, to anything that kind of makes sense. As we figure it out more and more, is that we're losing our taste buds. We're losing the fact that before we could taste what's good, what's not good for your body, not for your mouth, but what's supposed to taste good is good for your body. Now, because of all the sugar and all the processed food, it's becoming hard to do so, but we're getting back to it.
So you're doing farm to table?
I guess so. It's a term that's been overused over the last 20 years probably, but we're trying to be as local as we can.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
And then it's fresher that way.
It's fresher, it's better for the economy, it's better for your health, it's better for the world, it's better for the customer, it's better for pretty much everything. You can probably pick that with your fingers if you want. It's just a wild rice cracker with a pear and thyme.
That's a very small pear.
It's just a small... I'll take one.
Delicious.
I like pears.
It's delicious.
It reminds me of my grandmother.
Pears?
Pears and prunes.
Oh. And what do we have here?
So we have the celeriac puree and caviar and cucumber that's been smoked with the hay.
Lovely, really lovely.
And this is the surprise. This is the pecan and hazelnut truffle with the mushroom powder.
It just melts in your mouth. Fabulous.
Yes.
Love it. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
You know, I'm sitting here with an incredible experiment because to me, the robot is amazing. He's voice activated, and Cedric is the creative director here at 1616 Restaurant, and we are so excited to see this and how it works. And tell me how you came about this whole idea of the robot.
Yes, thank you to come. I have a crazy idea one day, and I made it. So if you just want to try,
let's try it. Well, let's see. What about a cocktail?
Cocktail, it's gonna be in the bar just in front of you. Vodka and tonic.
Yes, that sounds delicious. You are amazing.
You are amazing too.
Wow. That is really amazing. This is unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
Oh my God.
Today.
I thank you so much. This is unbelievable.
You're welcome.
And then you have your drink, but now
Unbelievable. This is the most creative thing I've ever seen.
yes, but now you can ask him if he know how to dance. You can ask him if you have a girlfriend. You can ask him everything you want, and he's going to answer to you.
Can you do a dance for me?
You want to dance with me?
Yes.
So let's try something easy. cook the champagne. I'm taking my time. I love to be in front of the camera.
This is just amazing. I've never seen anything like it.
No, this is only one in the world.
Can you dance to the last dance?
Let's try this one.
Welcome to the McCord Stewart Museum. I have the pleasure to be your guide. What's interesting about our museum is also the story of the museum's founder. His name is David Ross McCord, and by profession he was a lawyer, but by passion he was an avid collector. And in fact, roughly by the age of 40, he decided to set aside his practice as a lawyer and dedicate himself full-time to the art of collecting. Why? Because he believed that a deep appreciation of history and of a country's cultural heritage was fundamental in deepening and expanding our sense of identity. So, a bit like you, he was a globetrotter, and he traveled far and wide across Canada to seek out the most compelling objects that could communicate vividly the stories and the daily lives in Montreal, in our city, but also on the great land that we came to know as Canada. This is why the first peoples, otherwise the indigenous communities of Canada, were also essential in his collection. And in fact, one of the very first items that he acquired within his collection was a basket from one of the First Nations of Canada, the Mi'kmaq. Why I'm telling you all this background about the founder of a museum is because from our contemporary standpoint, as a museum, we define ourselves as a museum of all Montrealers. So a place where every Montrealer, but also every visitor, regardless of the departure and arrival gates, can find an object, a story, or even a conversation that increases his or her sense of belonging to the city, the world at large, and the better sides of humanity. Our main permanent exhibition is called Wearing Our Identity, the First Peoples Collection. The First Peoples are, in other words, all the indigenous communities of Canada. So the very, very first inhabitants of our great land prior to the arrival of the first European explorers, whalers, traders, hunters, settlers, missionary. Within that global name, First Peoples, there's three main subdivisions: the Inuit people, the First Nations, and the Métis. Each of this group is extremely different in terms of their ancestry, their culture, their history. And within each of this subdivision, there's numerous variation in terms of rituals.
I'm Suzanne Sauvage. I am the president and CEO of the McCord Stewart Museum. We're based in Montreal, as you know, and in the Golden Square Mile areas of the city. We're an old museum. Actually, we're going to celebrate our 100th anniversary in 2021. It's coming soon. We are a social history museum who really tells the stories of Montrealers and of Montreal. We have an exceptional collection of over 1.5 million objects that really documents the history of this city from the colonialism period until today. And we are right now in the exhibition, in one of our permanent exhibition about First People and First Nations in this country, exhibiting costumes from our collection. The exhibition is called Wearing Our Identity, and what it shows is how important is costumes and for First Nations people to express their identity in their everyday life. We are also having right now an exhibition called the Shalom Montreal, Contribution and Stories of the Jewish Community. It's really an exhibition that highlights the contribution of the Jewish community in the 20th century in Montreal. We talk about the different phases of immigration of the Jewish community in the beginning of the 20th century and their contribution in 5 or 6 major areas in this city. And also we have an exhibition on the 3rd floor of a young photographer who have worked with our collection, a photography collection, the Notman photography. She has inspired herself from their portraits and has taken photos of women in similar environment as that Notman used to in his studios in the 19th century. We work very closely with indigenous communities when we developed that exhibition here, and we work jointly with them to develop the theme, the concept, and selecting the objects. And this exhibition is really a joint collaboration with the indigenous communities and our people here at the museum. We do have a totem pole, a very remarkable one when you come in the museum that you've probably seen. It comes from Western Canada, from the Haida community. We have photographies of First Nations taken by one of the photographers we collect here, which is William Notman, has taken a lot of photography of the First Nations, end of the 19th century, beginning of the 20th century. And we have other photographies by other Canadian photographers who did photography the indigenous people in the 20th century.
Look forward to seeing you next week at another colorful destination. So long for now.